States worked to build and then maintain a broad coalition of diverse nations to initially condemn the Iraqi invasion, and after that to coerce Iraq into withdrawing from Kuwait through sanctions, and later to both participate in and contribute troops, material, and money to Desert Shield and Desert Storm. In the early days of the crisis, President Bush determined to use international pressure, especially through the UN Security Council rather than unilateral American action, to restore Kuwait. For Bush, the world emerging from the Cold War, one that appeared to leave the United States as the lone superpower, presented an historic opportunity for the United States to lead the international community. While a superpower could exercise power unilaterally, Bush understood the importance of international consensus and of pursuing American aims through multilateralism, in this case, through the UN. Moreover, Bush appreciated the need to enhance the legitimacy of the UN in the world community. Successfully forcing Saddam to abandon Kuwait either peacefully or by use of force through American leadership in the UN, Bush hoped, would achieve both purposes. The coalition. In addition to Saudi Arabia, the coalition had some obvious partners. Under Thatcher's and her successor John Major's leadership, Great Britain stood up to play a traditional role in the Middle East. Having previously helped Kuwait defend itself against aggressive Iraqi posturing in 1961, and having exercised over a century's worth of influence in the region, Great Britain unhesitatingly deployed naval assets and several Tornado fighter bomber squadrons in tandem with initial U.S. deployments in August 1990. While Thatcher had to do a delicate political dance to convince members of Parliament that Great Britain should play a leading role in resolving the crisis by peace or by force, by October 1990, Great Britain had forces in the region, second only in number to that of the United States. These included the 7th Armored Brigade, the famous Desert Rats, a mechanized infantry battalion, and air and missile defense assets. Not wanting to appear too closely aligned to American leadership in the crisis, France, not surprisingly, attempted to exercise an independent approach to enhance its standing in the region now that the Cold War appeared ended. France had been perhaps the closest Western ally of Saddam's Iraq. Now, France faced the embarrassment of the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. France first dispatched several envoys to various countries in the region to seek a resolution of the crisis and to assure French allies in the Middle East of the defensive nature of the French reaction. Among French President François Mitterrand's cabinet, several ministers worried that a large deployment of coalition forces, even for the defense of Saudi Arabia, would in turn certainly guarantee war with Iraq. For its part, the United States paid little notice to French unilateralism, which largely appeared inept to American observers. After following its own path for over 2 months, by the end of October, France slowly gravitated toward the American-led coalition. Iraqi treatment of French diplomats and other citizens both in Iraq and Kuwait forced the issue, leaving France with little choice but to grudgingly join the coalition. China also presented the United States with some challenges in building support against Iraq. With the Tiananmen Square incident still fresh in public memory, China wisely decided to take a back seat in the crisis. While wanting to be seen as the staunch supporter of lesser developed countries, especially in Africa, and to avoid too close an affiliation with the American-led coalition, China nonetheless had to closely watch the crisis as it developed in the late summer and fall of 1990. With heavy investment across the Middle East and deep trade interests in Europe and the United States, China had much to risk as it cautiously considered its approach to the crisis. Bush's long relationship with China, he had been head of the U.S. Liaison Office in China in 1974-75, and his controversial laissez-faire approach to the Tiananmen Square crisis in 1989 helped him to garner Chinese support in the UN Security Council throughout the crisis. The Bush administration had to be aware of possible public backlash in its dealings with China during the crisis, while China, too, had to be cognizant of repairing its own international image. Constitutional issues restricted both West Germany and Japan's ability to participate in the coalition.